Welcome back to another episode of SPSS MasterClass for Beginners. Here we are breaking down the great statistical analysis software known as SPSS. So in our previous video, we learned how to prepare Excel data for importing in SPSS and actually importing our Excel data into SPSS. Now the next step is to learn how to create frequencies in SPSS. For this, we would go back to the data we had created in our first video, which you can download from the description below. So open up SPSS and put the file on your screen. When you're ready, let's jump right in to the third episode of SPSS Masterclass for Beginners. Hey guys, my name is Shardul, hailing from ShaVash tutorials and creator of shavash.co.in. I am also a junior research fellow at Indian Institute of Information Technology, Allahabad. Before we begin the masterclass, if you are interested in any tech product, software or language, be it for coding or research purposes, then be sure to subscribe the channel by clicking the red subscribe button and also the bell icon next to it so that you never miss an episode. Also, there is a whole playlist of the masterclass in the description so that you can go to the other videos when you are done with this one. So let's begin. Now if you are here from the last video, I hope that you have SPSS installed in your laptop or computer, or else pause the video and go to our description to install the trial version of SPSS from their official website. Let's begin on the data view of the episode 1 data. I have updated the values in our dataset. You must pause the video and fill the values for your further use. I'll also wait for a moment so that you can get up to date with the data. Or you can download the SPSS data from the description below to begin. The data of this video is saved as episode 3 data in the description if someone looks for the data. So let's first look at the data structure. The first column is ID, which is representing the identifying information of the participants. It shows that it has 13 participants. The second is gender, which is the dichotomous nominal variable of the participant's gender. Dichotomous variables are the variables which have only two types of categories. Here the categories are male and female. You can change this string value into coded numbers by just pressing this value labels button, and it will change to 1 and 2 coded, or the string male and female. The third column represents the height of the participants. It is a quantitative variable and hence have their measures as scale. As you can see here, it is a ratio data and hence its 0 has a meaning, unlike the qualitative values. These values were measured in centimeters. Let's first sort the data with height. Right click on the height variable name and then select Sort Ascending. You can see that the lowest value is 152 centimeters and the highest was 184 centimeters. You can also see that there were 3 participants of whom we could not get the height, and hence the values are missing. Let's resort the data with ID to bring it back to normal. We right click on ID, go to Sort Ascending. Now the data is back to normal. Now let's begin analyzing the data. The first thing that you can do is finding the occurrence of the data. For example, if you want to know how many males and females are in the data, that can be done by finding their frequencies. This is easy to do in SPSS. Almost all the analysis in SPSS is done on the Analyze menu. So when you click on Analyze menu, you will see that there is a litany of analysis given that can be done in SPSS, from finding the frequencies and then regression, correlation, scales, non-parametric tests, forecasting, and others. For finding the frequencies, we go to Analyze, then Descriptive Statistics, and then Frequencies. When we click on it, a window pops on the screen. The left side of the window contains all the variables of the dataset. We'll just right click on it and say Display Variable Names instead of Display Variable Labels, so that it becomes easier for our understanding and for the understanding of the analysis. So the left side contains all the variables of the dataset, and this right side of the window contains the variable side where all the analysis can be done. To begin analysis, click on Gender on the left of the window. To move it on the right, you can either click this center arrow and it will move here, or you can drag and drop, or you can just double click and the variables will move. Now let's move back the variables that are not required in this analysis. Alright, we have gender. Now you have to make sure that you have checked this little button of display frequency tables. It says you have turned off all output, so we need something to be selected so that any analysis can be done. So we'll click on display frequency tables. Now we will click OK. SPSS has taken you to the output window. SPSS usually provides a lot of output, sometimes more than required for analysis. The game then becomes of interpreting the output. As I have elaborated in the first video of this masterclass series, running SPSS analysis is easy, but interpreting takes real skill, knowledge, and practice. Anyways, on the output window, we see the first table, which gives us the summary statistics of the variables. It shows that the gender of the participants has 13 valid scores with no missing values. The next set of tables is the frequency table. This frequency table tells us that there are 7 males and 6 females in our analysis. Now we will also find the frequency table of the height variable. We'll go to descriptive statistics, then frequencies, and then we'll remove gender and add the height variable, and then click OK. Now there are two sets of tables. First one is showing that we have 0 missing participants in gender, but we have 3 missing participants in the variable of height. So I had said in the previous video that SPSS has a way of telling which variable has a missing value, and this is one of the way. So the second frequency table of height tells us that there are 10 total values and 3 values have been missing in the system. You can also see the percent, the valid percent, and cumulative percent in both the tables. Now the first thing is about percent and valid percent. When there are no missing values, then percent and valid percent is going to be exactly the same, as you can see here. But if there are some missing values, like here, the percent and valid percent will be different. So the percent will calculate the total percentage of all the values, including the missing values, whereas valid percent will only calculate the percent of the valid values. So it is usually a good practice to use valid percent instead of percent when interpreting this type of output. It can be clearly seen in the table of height, where we have 3 missing values. The percent column is different than the valid percent column. Let's now plot some of our frequencies. A detailed use of charts would be explained in later episodes, but let's try and make some basic charts of our frequencies. Before we do that, you should know that graphs must be chosen appropriately for variables. A nominal or ordinal variable must be reported with a bar graph, whereas a scale variable must be reported with a histogram. So for these, we can go to Analyze. Both the Analyze on data window and the output window work the same, by the way. So we go to Analyze, then Descriptive Statistics, and then Frequencies. Let's reset the screen and then change it to display variable names, and then move gender to the right. Let's deselect display frequency tables. We'll disregard this message. Then we'll click on charts. Under chart type, we will select bar charts. Then we'll select percentages in chart values. Then we'll click continue and then OK. In the output window, we see the chart of gender. We have 2 distinct bars, one of male and another for female. We can also estimate each percentages with the %y column. Let's go back to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and Frequencies. Let's move gender out and height in. Then we'll click on charts, and this time we will select histogram. Let's also choose show normal curve on histogram. Then click continue and OK. In the output window, you can see touching bars, which mean that data is connected. The normal curve also makes sense with your data. Our graph shows that our data reasonably resembles a normal distribution, the bell curve. We can also see that the average height of the participants is 168.1 centimeters. Let's save our data as well as output for our future use. We'll call this output file as we'll go to our desired folder and we'll call the file as episode 3 output. We leave the save as type as .spv and we'll click save. We'll go back to the data and we'll save the data as well. We'll go to our desired folder and we'll call this data as episode 3 data. We'll save the type as SPSS statistics.sav and we'll click save. So yeah, that's how you do it. So that right there is how you find the frequency tables and draw the frequency distributions using bar chart and histogram in SPSS. In the next video, we will look into descriptive statistics and measures of central tendency and convert our scores into standardized Z scores. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you do not miss the next video of the SPSS Masterclass series. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Masterclass series.